another episode of Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. The podcast dives deep into the intersection of business, innovation, and strategy. I'm your host, Maheen, and today we have a very special guest, Kim Schreader, Director of Cybersecurity Professional Services at TELUS. In an era of cloud adoption skyrocketing, understanding cloud security has never been more vital. Kim is here to share insights from the comprehensive TELUS Canadian Cloud Security Study carried out in partnership with IDC Canada. The study explores the challenges and key strategies for businesses adopting cloud technologies. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to delve into the intricate world of cloud security. Hi, Kim. On behalf of Canadian SME, I'd like to welcome you to our Small Business Podcast. How are you today?
I'm very good, and I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Likewise, very pleased to have you with us this afternoon. Now, Kim, at a time where cloud adoption is skyrocketing, TELUS Business has released a comprehensive report in partnership with IDC Canada. Now, the TELUS Canadian Cloud Security Study looks at, key impacts and data that can shape businesses' cloud adoption strategies both today and into the future. Can you provide our audience with an overview of the TELUS Canadian Cloud Security Study and its main objectives?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are extremely proud of the study. It is a study of over 500 IT and security leaders across Canada. As you mentioned, it was conducted in a partnership with IDC, and it was targeted at leaders that were part of the strategy and the subsequent migration of their organization to cloud. So this study aims to look at how these organizations approached that cloud adoption, what they looked at in order to build that strategy, and then what their learnings were once they got there. So I think it's a really unique piece of Canadian-based data that will tell the story of organizations in Canada and what they've learned through their own cloud adoption.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kim, one of the key findings from the study is that 98% of respondents expressed that they find securing the cloud more difficult than on premises. What is it about the cloud that makes it so much more challenging to secure?
Yeah, that was quite an interesting metric to see. I think some of what we're seeing through the study data is that cloud is a shift. It's a shift in how we do business and how we interact with data and how we can enable our business. But it also required a shift in how we secured it. And I think one of the trends that we saw was that there was a tendency to look at the cloud and try to secure it similar to the way we did on-prem. So when we had on-prem infrastructure, everything was in our control. We were able to sort of put things around it, and and that's how, in some cases, we've looked at securing the cloud. And I think that's really caused some pain points, because when you are moving things, or if you're adopting the cloud, so we saw, for instance, that smaller organizations, they actually were quicker to go to the cloud, which is not surprising. They'd have smaller projects. They would need the agility of cloud. But what we were seeing was that there was some confusion around which part of the cloud environment you needed to have visibility and control and care over, and which was part of the cloud security provider's responsibility.
Mm-hmm. The study also found that 99% of organizations, nearly all of them, admit that if they could adopt cloud all over again, they'd spend more time on at least one aspect of security. What would they do differently, and what can we learn from their experiences?
Yeah, I think that's an extension of the theme we just talked about. I think that if you were to go back, looking at the frameworks where we can understand the responsibility so working more collaboratively with our cloud services provider to understand that responsibility matrix, I think that would be one of the key things that most organizations would go back to understand. I think that they would spend a little bit more time understanding what they decided to move and how they decided to move different pieces of their business to ensure that there was some continuity to their visibility. So a lot of the data in the study showed that the majority have gone to a multi-cloud strategy, which from a business perspective likely made sense in how they wanted to use the cloud to enable their business. But that makes it more complex in securing it. So going back and having maybe a more thoughtful look at how you would secure a multi-cloud environment, those responsibilities as we talked about. The other thing that we saw as through the study was only 56% referenced a framework when they were setting up. So an industry framework or a cloud alliance security affiliate framework. So understanding what the best practices would be from an industry perspective or different regulatory frameworks like NIST or CIS. I think that's where some organizations might put a little bit more thought at the front end of that transformation than they maybe did the first time around.
Mm-hmm. And you're right, in the ever-evolving landscape of cloud security, organizations face numerous challenges in defending themselves and safeguarding their valuable assets. And to address that, the study also sheds light on the tools and processes organizations can employ to effectively defend themselves and their most valuable assets. Kim, can you discuss some of these recommended tools and processes and how can they help enhance cloud security?
Yeah, so when we're looking at really anything in security, we look at people, process, and technology. So from a people perspective, we would say it's really important that you're doing security awareness. As you move different parts of the business and their function to the cloud, it's important that the people in the business understand, where they need to be diligent in defending, and they're part of the security posture as they change how their work is being done. Another thing from a security perspective is that it's really important that people have cloud specific skills. That was another really big finding in the study. Most organizations said that one of the biggest challenges they had was having staff that had cloud skills. So that was going to be a big focus for a lot of the respondents, was ensuring that they were able to get those skills in their team, whether that was skilling up current employees, hiring for new roles, or maybe partnering with some professional services organizations. From a process standpoint, again, it's important to ensure that as you're changing, as you're transforming how your business is conducting, where your data is, how people interact with that data, where they can interact from to access that data, that you have the proper governance processes in place so that they understand what the organization is expecting for people to do, like whether that is ensuring you have multi-factor authentication. And now we're kind of getting into the technology, but ensuring that if you require people to be on VPN before they access the cloud, so ensuring that you've thought through the process of how people will interact with the cloud strategy. Technology is where there's a lot more options, and that's where I think it can be maybe overwhelming as you look through the data and see all of the different ways that you could secure the cloud. I think that the ones that really need to be focused on are the ability to ensure that you have visibility across the environment, that you extend your monitoring capabilities from your on-prem to include your cloud environments, and that monitoring is happening 24/7.
Mm-hmm. No, it is 100% very crucial for organizations, to be proactive and stay ahead of emerging security challenges. Now, Kim, considering the rapidly expanding cloud landscape and the increasing adoption of cloud services, what advice would you give to organizations looking to fortify their security measures in the cloud?
Yeah, so hopefully they're going to read the study and they're going to be able to use that and apply some of the learnings here in their own journey. The other thing I think that's really important is that you need to understand that shared responsibility matrix. Collaborate, work with your cloud services provider, understand what part of the infrastructure they're responsible for securing. As we said, the visibility, so it's really important that you understand. So doing, a security assessment potentially to understand in your newly migrated or newly adopted cloud environment, do you have visibility? Do you have an inventory of all the assets that are now part of your environment? And then set up the monitoring so that you can detect if there is an anomaly or there's a vulnerability or an incident, and then build the capabilities to respond. Part of that response, and maybe tying this back to the processes, it's really important that you have an incident response plan. It was very evident that the organizations that had an incident response plan and updated it and tested it on a regular basis, they were much more quickly able to respond to an incident. If I recall correctly, it was 24 hours versus an average of 3 days. And when you're talking about downtime and impact to your business, that's going to be hugely beneficial to be able to respond quickly should there be an incident.
Mm-hmm. And you're 100% right. The TELUS Canadian Cloud Security Study offers a wealth of insights that organizations can leverage. Kim, on a final note, can you explain and give an overview to our audience? How can organizations really leverage the insights from the study to shape their cloud adoption strategies and improve their overall security posture in the cloud?
Yeah, so regardless of whether you're starting your journey or you've already migrated and you're in, among the 500 and plus respondents who are now looking back and wishing that you might have done something different, we're hoping that people are going to use the learnings that we've been able to compile here, and they're going to be able to apply them to increase their security posture going forward. So, for instance, one of the study finding was that those organizations that had multi-factor authentication coupled with cloud security posture management and the visibility across their environment were far, far more likely to be able to detect an incident and had less incidents occur during the year. So there's ways that you can use the information in the study to build out your own strategy, whether that is you're at the beginning and you're going to be able to learn from the onset, or whether that is something that you need to reassess. I mean, security is a continual process. So if you've been able to, adopt your cloud strategy, then going back and having a continuous improvement cycle where you can bring in some of these learnings, that would be what we're hoping organizations will be able to get from this study.
No, there's absolutely no doubt that this study serves as a very valuable resource for organizations seeking to navigate the complexities of cloud security and really adapt their strategies for a rapidly expanding cloud landscape. Thank you so much, Kim, for providing valuable insights on leveraging this study to shape cloud adoption strategies and enhance security in the cloud. And it is quite evident, in fact, that organizations can really greatly benefit from this study, and it can help them make informed decisions and strengthen their overall security posture. So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate your insights.
No, I appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
The TELUS Canadian Cloud Security Study provides organizations with a roadmap to navigate the evolving cloud landscape and enhance their security posture. We hope this discussion has shed light on the importance of fortifying security measures in the cloud and the strategies organizations can employ to protect their valuable assets. If you found this conversation interesting and want to dive deeper into these findings, you can visit telus.com/cloudsecuritystudy to download your free copy of the study today. Once again, we would like to thank our exclusive banking partner RBC, our shipping partner UPS, and our accounting software partner Xero for supporting this initiative. Please do share the podcast and feel free to check out the other episodes. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the Canadian SME Small Business Magazine to stay up to date on all our upcoming events and get the top business insights from industry leaders. This is Maheen, your host for the Small Business Podcast.